Today we're going to talk about a lens that I am very sure you've never heard of. This is the Topcon Topcor-S 5cm f2. I want to point out that I don't do gear reviews. I don't review lenses. All I'm doing is trying to make you aware of the existence of this lens because no one's ever talked about this. Like, no one ever talks about Topcor, which is, by the way, my favorite camera company, even more than Pentax. You know, I'm talking about vintage lenses. For those of you new to my channel, I like talking about old, forgotten vintage lenses that are awesome because they are usually affordable and you can get really amazing results without spending so much money. And I want you to be able to take nice photos for cheap, right? But this is not that lens. Actually, this is one of the more pricier lenses out there. Not because it's like super awesome or amazing, even though it is pretty amazing, but rather it's kind of rare. But even more rare than the 5cm f2 is the 5cm f1.5. That one is like a really weird lens because, well, I don't usually go into talking about the designs of these lenses, but this is like a Gauss design. In fact, it's very comparable, almost comparable to a Biotar, because when you take pictures, you're able to get some of the little swirliness in your picture. Like it's a little bit more than subtle. So if you're into swirly bokeh, you can get that with this, but not as strong as like a Helios lens. But anyways, all right, so let's get back to talking about this lens because I'm itching to tell you what I know about it. This is an LTM lens. That means it's a Leica thread mount lens. Now, I'm not talking about this lens because it's better than every other lens out there or anything like that, but this is a lens that I've wanted for so long. The problem is that they're all really kind of expensive. I was able to get this for cheap, for only $100, because it was a floor model. It had fungus and dust inside, and it was kind of dirty on the outside. So they sold it to me like that, and you know what? I don't mind because I am very good at repairing old lenses and making them run like new. And I've always wanted this. Specifically, I wanted a Leica thread mount lens. Now, if you've ever shot with some Leica lenses, people like to compare this lens to the Leica Summicron. Funny I should say that because this is actually a Leica clone. This is a Japanese Leica copy. I really love the history of these old lenses, and I could really just sit here and read to you like I could really just sit here and read you like the spec sheets of this lens, like, oh, it's goes up to f16 and it's got 7 aperture blades, blah blah blah. But that's not what my channel is about. You know, I like the history of these lenses. After World War II, Germany pretty much lost patents to things like glass, pretty much all the patents, right? Russia pillaged the German factories. They took all the machinery, took all the glass, all that, and the designs got spread around, you know. And Japan got a hold of like the plans for like Leica and Zeiss and so on. And this is the result of taking German technology, German Leica technology, and perfecting it by the Japanese, because anyone who knows Japanese products are like top notch. This lens is just amazing. Like, it feels amazing. Even though it's from like 1954, it's still, I don't know if you can hear that click. That is real precise. It's kind of a little heavy lens. It's very comparable to the Auro Yachinan f2, but I can't really, but it's not, you know, it's different. It's like, I would say this one has a little bit more contrast than the Auro Yachinan, but if you're a fan of the Auro Yachinan f2, then this lens is right in the ballpark. You know, it's I love Topcor-S. It's too bad like they're not around anymore. And as you can see from the pictures I've been posting, I've been having a blast shooting this on my medium format camera, which by the way covers the entire circle. I mean, it has a little bit of vignetting, but I've always wanted a Leica thread mount lens. This fits it just perfectly, and look at this focus. It's just so smooth. It clicks so perfectly. I'm not gonna lie, it flares a little when you point it in the direction of the sun, but you know, these are old lenses. They don't have like as great coatings as like more modern lenses. But one of the key things about this lens is how sharp it is, because you know, old lenses are not the sharpest ones around. I mean, they're wonderful, they're great, I love them, but even I have to admit they're not as sharp as like more modern lenses. This lens, this and the Auto Yashinan are actually really sharp for their age. Like for being a 1954 lens, this one is pretty good. I'm not gonna say it's going to outperform a more modern lens. I'm just saying it's really good lens for being from 1954. And really, I love it. I mean, look at this. It's so small. It's so well built. The pictures are amazing. Like I said, comparable to a Leica Summicron. If you look at pictures from both, you wouldn't be able to tell which one is which, probably. Oh, and if you're into that micro contrast game, this is the lens for you. If you're into that, because I know it's like a very controversial thing. But yeah, my copy actually has some scratch like on the surface, which is a little bit too bad, but I don't really notice any drop in performance, especially since I gave it a real nice cleaning. But yeah, like I said, I just wanted you to be aware of the existence of this lens, because no one here on YouTube ever talks about Topcon, Topcor-S, or this lens, like ever. But if you're into vintage lenses, you might have heard about these. It came with like the Leica-like cameras back in the day. But yeah, they are kind of rare, but not as rare as the 1.5, which is 5cm f1.5. That was like a really weird lens. I wish I could get my hands on it, but I don't have one. It's like a weird half gauze, half some other. Anyways, that's another video. Topcor-S 5cm f2. Be aware of its existence, you vintage lens collectors out there. My pictures on YouTube don't show how good it actually is. You might want to go to like a Flickr and look for people's pictures of the lens, and then you'll see, okay, that is really pretty sharp. Some people who looked at my pictures from the medium format told me that the edges are kind of weird and it didn't look that sharp to them. That's because I'm shooting on a medium format camera. Like if you were shooting this on an APS-C or on a full frame camera, it's gonna cover everything perfectly. You don't get those weird edges, but when you shoot medium format, you're seeing beyond what is meant to be seen from the lens, and even then it still looks pretty amazing. So that's how good this lens is. And like I say, I love this lens very much. I just want you to know it exists. I'm not telling you to go out and buy it, because you know what I always say here on YouTube, don't go out and buy stuff just because a YouTuber tells you to, or because they have it or talk about it. I just want you to be aware of its existence. They go for like 500 bucks these days, 400, 500. If you see one around 200, maybe I'll get it, but if it's like 150 or below, I definitely would get it, because they're quite a steal, you know, these lovely lenses. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the pictures. Let me know if there's one you liked in particular. Have a nice day.